spring birds enjoying the beautiful weather. And so I have Vrindavan with me. And we wanted to discuss together, and of course with all of you. Keshavi Ma, am I missing anyone? Thank you for hosting us. Grateful to you. So, uh, so we had this beautiful program last night. We spent a good couple of hours at this yoga studio. She's been teaching there for 21 years. Very beautiful soul, Stephanie. She's not able to be on tonight, and we had first time introducing 30 people to kirtan and the philosophy of bhakti. It was fantastic. It was nonstop singing and dancing, and it was beautiful. So I wanted Vrindavan to share with all of us how to, who remembers what the topic is? Anyone want to blurt it out? People maybe don't check what the topic.
Anxiety aligned to alignment, I think.
Yes. So anxiety to alignment. So this is our topic of discussion. So we were discussing yesterday how when you have anxiety, what that means is that we have many, many personalities, parts of our life that is divided into many, many fragments. We have many, many shoes to fill, many hats to wear, and so we have many roles to play. And because we have so many roles, and each and every one of those identities are are getting pulled in every different direction. So what ends up happening is we kind of lose focus of who we truly are. So in the ancient yogic philosophy, we understand that anxiety is caused by fragmented identities. And so we were discussing yesterday. Cynthia, did you want to add something? Your hands are up. I didn't want to ignore your.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean for that to happen. Thank you.
Oh, no problems. So we were discussing how uh, anxiety is a cause of fragmented identities, and how if we look at our lives, we will be able to recognize how we have so many identities, so many roles, and so many propositions that people want us to live up to, and so many expectations from so many different quarters due to all those roles causes one to have one of the contributing factors of having anxiety. And the alignment comes when we are able to find our true authentic self. What that means is really trying to understand our true nature, who we really are. And so this alignment happens through various uh, modalities, I would say. And one of the things that is very instrumental and powerful in shifting from anxiety to alignment is actually going on places of pilgrimage. It's like, for example, they're doing retreats. Cynthia and Laura, they're in Costa Rica with Anugraha Devi and and Radha Priti and all of them. They're going to these places where they can be out of the comfort zone of their lives and find and create an energy vortex where together collectively they can grow. So this is one of the ways to shift from anxiety to alignment. And I wanted to particularly speak about going to places of pilgrimage where sages have meditated for thousands of years, where those very geographic locations are powerful energy vortexes that just being in that space alone will actually help to reset your identity crisis and remove you from anxiety and put you in alignment. So I have Vrindavan with us. He takes a lot of tours to Bali and all over South America and India. And I said, Vrindavan, let's talk about it. Let's share with everyone how this spiritual alignment happens by visiting places of pilgrimage. Okay, Vrindavan, the floor is yours. So please share with us. Oh, for those of you who do not know Vrindavan, a little bit more introduction. He is from Colombia, but he grew up in Vrindavan, singing and dancing in Vrindavan. And but he's from this place called Medellin in Colombia, where we do retreats. It's the land of eternal springs. It's always spring in Vrindavan, in Colombia, in this particular city called Medellin. Okay, so Vrindavan, please share.
Radhe Sham. Can you hear me,
A
Veda?
little louder, please.
Now, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you, Veda, so much. And this is my second time in Heartspace, and I'm so happy to be here with all of you. I met Veda not too long ago, and I was so happy to meet him. And it happened like sometimes we say that when you meet your soulmate, because we thought like we're doing pretty much the same things, but in different parts, and we never met before. And so it was a very special moment when to meet and to be able to share, because when you meet someone who do similar things as you do, then it's like the opportunity to share and to be able to nourish each other and see the different experiences and even get more inspired. So, uh, so I'm so happy to be here and and to be able to share with Veda and all your community as well. And regarding the pilgrimage and the retreats, it's been something that it's been very, very close to my heart. Uh, I didn't choose that path of life in my life, but it just came that way. I moved to Vrindavan when I was almost 14 years old, and then I started doing pilgrimage since then. Of course, I first joined a lot of pilgrimage, and then I started even guiding some of them, and now fully dedicated to guiding retreats and pilgrimage. And regarding what Veda was saying and what's today's topic of anxiety, so I would just start saying that it's it's very funny that um, somehow the one of the reasons Veda was saying why we get anxiety, it's because we don't even situate ourselves in what we truly are. And and in other words, we also say like we have a natural instinct to live life. It's not like nobody wants to die. Sometimes we say, one of my teachers, he used to give the example when everyone likes to sleep, right? when you wake up in the morning and you meet someone, you say, oh, you had a good sleep. So sleep, it's so good. I don't think anyone here would say, I don't like to sleep, right? But do you want to sleep forever? Because it's so good to sleep, but then why don't you sleep forever? Then you say, no, I don't want to sleep forever. I want to wake up. I want to move, right? So that's a natural instinct. We want to wake up and we don't want to sleep forever. We all gonna die, yet we all want to live. So that's like a paradox of life. But nobody teaches how to live, and that's when we start getting anxiety. And the beautiful thing is about pilgrimage is that when we go on pilgrimage, it's like reminding ourselves two things. First thing is, how can we live life in a way that's livable, that's free of anxiety? And a retreat is not, we often get people saying like retreat is like escaping your reality. But we say retreat is, it's not escaping your reality, it's a way of seeing how you can create that new reality, which means an ever non-stop, ever going retreat. That should be your life. And in those 7 days, 10 days, sometimes just a weekend retreat or a 2 or 3 weeks pilgrimage in India, as we do sometimes, that that give us a small glimpse of how we should live life, because nobody ever taught us how to live life. They taught us how to do maths, they taught us history, they taught us so many things, but they don't teach us the basic things, which is how to live life free of anxiety. Even scientists, they're working so hard, investing millions of dollars on how to expand, the duration of life, how we can live longer. But they don't teach you why to live longer. Imagine if nobody would die. What would happen with the world? Nobody dying, everyone just living and living and living. What's gonna happen? It's gonna be a mess. So they trying to prolong life, but they're not trying to figure out how to live life free of anxiety. And that's a very important one. So on the retreats, when we go on the retreats, we love doing this because we share with Veda that um, at least for those 10 or 15 days, people really feel free of anxiety because they're really doing what they love and then really focusing on what they are. Like Veda was saying, there's a beautiful shloka that defines what bhakti is. And it has a special word that says, Sarvo Upadi Vinirmuktam, which means that we have to be free from all upadis. Upadis means like tags, names, levels. Like you should be free from all of that if you really want to be free of anxiety, if you really want to experience bliss in life, you have to free yourself from all of that. So when people go on a retreat, I've experienced this all the time, because they are in a different environment, so they really feel free to to act in different ways which they wouldn't do in their normal lives. They're able to say things to people that they wouldn't normally say, or to talk about things they wouldn't normally talk about. And what to say about the mystical aspect of going, like Beda was saying, specifically going to pilgrimage places where the yogis go, like the Himalayas, like the Ganges, you know. Of course, that adds so much value to it, but just creating that space where people really feel they can be who they really are, free from all upadis, free from all designations, because the designation is going to bring you anxiety. The designation is going to bring you thoughts, is going to bring you desires, and the desires is what brings you anxiety. I like this logic I heard once from my teacher. He said, everyone thinks that the way to be free of anxiety or the way to be more happy is to fulfill all your desires, right? That makes sense. If I fulfill all my desires, of course, who is going to be full of anxiety if you're fulfilling all your dreams and desires? You're going to be happy. But the yogic logic is the opposite. They say when you're free from desire, is the desire is what brings you anxiety. It's like you're thinking for 2 3 weeks, I want to buy that car, I want to buy that car, I really want to buy that car, I want that car so badly. And once you get the car, oh, I'm so happy. But you're not happy because of the car. You're happy because you got rid of the desire of the car, of buying the car. And then now you're happy because now you don't have that desire. Because the car is gonna give you happiness maybe for the first month, then it's gonna be a little bit of trouble. It's not gonna give you the same happiness it gives you the first weeks. So yeah, I think pilgrimage reminds us of those things, of how to situate ourselves in who we really are and see different possibilities of life, of how can we can actually live a life of eternal retreat, of eternal pilgrimage, and not to think about what most people think, that a retreat is just escaping our reality and or just giving us some tools that we can have to use in our daily lives. That's also going to happen. But when you are on a retreat, if you ever get the opportunity to go on a retreat with Veda, or probably you already have, and then that when you are on that retreat, or next time you go again to a retreat with Veda, so you think, oh, I can actually live my life in this way always. It doesn't have to be that this is a different reality, and when I come back, it's going to be boring as ever. No, I can always be so blissful and happy as Veda is. Veda is actually always every retreat. He's doing back-to-back retreats all the time. But you can also do that. It's not only Veda's privilege. That everyone has the opportunity to do that. So yeah, that's pretty much what I have to say, Veda. Sorry to extend myself too much.
I was just thinking how anxiety is love without direction, is a thought that I've been carrying in my mind since we discussing last night about what anxiety was. Because we have so much love to give, and it gets scattered in so many different directions. But then there isn't much cohesion with all the directions that our energy is going into. So then we feel very depleted, and then we become anxious. But if we really learn that, during COVID, for example, we take the oxygen, the air that we breathe for granted. For some of you, when you get COVID, some of you had COVID, I notice that it's so difficult to breathe. You start to really recognize the importance of this free breath that we have. So I feel like going to places like Vrindavan, Rishikesh, and all these sacred places, it's literally making you realize the true importance of life, that we often get so complacent in our routine, the world of comfort that we live in. We often forget there is the how rich and valuable this life that we live is. And deep within that uh, material life lies the soul who's hankering for attention and love. And so when we go to places like Vrindavan, I remember last year, I didn't see Jennifer sad or not laugh and smile the whole trip, 11 days. Whenever you saw her, she had a smile year to year. And I was trying to understand what was going on with her. Even though she was sick, she got sick or something happened with, she hurt her legs, she bumped into something. And I remember she just kept smiling the whole time. And I was thinking, what is she on? It's difficult to explain the 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 shift that happens when we go to these places. Because to me, they say retreat means to run away or go to a place. To me, retreat means to treat yourself means yourself, the soul, needs some nourishment. It needs some life. It needs some fresh oxygen. It needs some recalibration. It needs some reset. Like we were discussing yesterday, going to places of pilgrimage with sages, with like minded people, and going with an intention of growth and transformation, it is actually a factory reset for our consciousness. And when you come back to the world, you don't fit in. It takes you weeks and months, sometimes to just normalize coming back from that high. What do you think, Keshavima? You're a famous pilgrimage guide.
What do I think? Yeah, the retreats are, I mean, the retreats and the tours in India are just completely life-changing. Even though I've gone so many times at this point, just being able to bring people and guide people in India is just so fulfilling, just to see the transformation that people have just in that, what is it, 10 days, 12-day period. So yeah, it's really an incredible experience.
Okay, thank you for sharing. I wanted to go a little bit more in a direction how to create that spiritual space if you're not able to travel, how to start cultivating that space at home, Vrindavan. Creating Vrindavan in your house, creating Rishikesh in your house. So this is now we're gonna zoom in a little bit. Please share with us.
Thank you, Veda. Well, that's a beautiful question that I've been going through lately. You know why? Because
Yeah.
I just recently had a thing uh, that I could not go back to India for a few months. And I was like, how I'm going to create my Brindavan in Medellin, so far away in Colombia. You know, how am I going to do that? So it's been a reflection, especially lately, of how to do that. Of course, we do that, and when we talk about sacred places, so we always mention, and especially when we had the opportunity to live in those places, like I've been living in Brindavan for 16 years, you realize deeply that the sacred places is not just about a geographical place, but is definitely a state of consciousness. And if you enter that state of consciousness, you would be able to create uh, that environment anywhere you are. And on the other side, if you're not on that state of consciousness, although you may be on a retreat in the Himalayas, maybe in Kedarnath, up in the mountains, 4,000 meters high, and you're just bringing all your stuff in your head, you know. So what is the use? You're not going to experience anything because you have that mind blockage that is not letting you be free and be in that state of consciousness. So Vrindavan, or these holy places, these, these places of pilgrimage, although they're powerful and they do have an effect when you're there, we always emphasize that the bigger effect is about the changing of consciousness and bringing that state of consciousness of the actual geographical place. So in order to make that true, so then the question would be, okay, how do I create that mindset, that state of consciousness? How do I remind myself always of being in that non-stop retreat mode? So the answer would be, I would only say two things. One is that first, to do that, then we have to know ourselves very well. know our mind, because when we say state of consciousness, what that actually means practically, like if we want to be really, really practical, means your state of consciousness is where your mind is. So where's your mind all the time? Uh, in your work, in your job, and money making. And so usually our mind it's full of anxieties, thinking about the future, thinking about our to-do list, here and there. But in burnout, I always like to share this, that because people always ask me, and especially now that I'm spending few weeks in Colombia, they say some people are surprised how I'm able to live in India, because when you are used to the Western reality, people can go and have a retreat in India. But even those who come with us to a retreat in India, they say I could never live here. It's too crazy. It's very chaotic. But and my answer to that always is, it's true, and now, especially now, I've experienced, and now I'm in Atlanta with Veda. It's so comfortable here. It's a nice weather. The pollution is not so much, so it's easy for you to wake up early in the morning and do your morning rituals. It becomes much easier. But once you step out of your house, like at least in Colombia where I live, you step out of your house and you see everyone walking, and you just think, why are they walking for? And then you realize the answer is going to be, everyone is just chasing money in different ways. And I do the same exercise in Vrindavan, and then you walk out the door and you see the same people walking here and there, and they're all chasing how to have lived their lives, how to connect their soul with the super soul. So that makes a big change. So I would just end saying that if we know our mind and we start training our mind, and we're able to situate our mind in a state of consciousness which is peaceful, and which is in the right place, we can definitely experience that whatever we are, because it's not about the place. You don't even need a retreat. We would say, if you are able to situate your mind in the right place, and right from your home, right from your city, anywhere, if you create that state of consciousness. Of course, in Bhakti, we say it, in Vedaji, this very well. It's not an easy thing. We say Bhakti is simple, but not easy. Simple means it's very simple. You just have to focus your mind on that beautiful thing. But when they try focusing your mind is not so easy. So yeah, but I would say to work on creating that consciousness, that Vrindavan consciousness, and anywhere you are.
Beautiful, beautiful. I'll share that, in the Bhakti lineage, we often come across this principle of becoming a place of pilgrimage. So there's cultivating this consciousness of love, cultivating this divine consciousness on a daily basis. I often talk about sadhana every day, that every day we must press the reset button for half an hour, for 1 hour, for 2 hours. And that reset button is really centering yourself to your truth. And that happens through your sadhana. And when you start to do that, you're able to take your mind into the truth where your consciousness will follow. And then you watch. When we were in Connecticut, we were in Hanuman Mandir, in Hanuman Temple in city. Every moment we came into the house, whatever we did, whatever time of the day or night, we ended up having a kirtan. And it goes on till whatever it stops, it stops. Whenever it starts, it starts. So whenever we walked into the house, there was immediate reset. Like, okay, this is how life starts, and this is how life begins, and this is how life stops. So imagine every single day, each and every one of us create that sacred reset ritual. And that reset ritual is how we are able to always remain in divine consciousness. And it is something that we must consciously uh, uh, act upon, because uh, the mind will take you all over the place, as Vrindavan puts it. The consciousness will follow the mind. So we have to consciously create a schedule, a rhythm in our life where we can really, really spend time with ourselves. And in saying this, I also want to share that uh, this is what we do on a daily basis. And then on a weekly basis, we have sanghas everywhere now. If you're in Connecticut, there is a sangha, there's an online call, there's an in-person visits. In Atlanta, we have it. In New Hampshire, they have it. In Virginia, they have it. And wherever you go now, we have the sanghas. Anuradha is doing it in Savannah. And we immediately go and connect with a larger group. And then together we go to places where just the very fact of being in that particular geographic location will enable you to have a big, huge internal churn, a shift that you cannot resist, a shift that is imposed on your system so that you can actually feel divine presence. You can actually have clarity in your path. You can actually uh, refocus and realign yourself, because that alignment is very, very key. If our life is not aligned with our purpose, with our dharma in life, then we will continue to uh, experience anxiety in the material world. So this realignment is really important, and that's why we need to realign every single day. Take some time every single day. We realign, and every week we realign as a community. And then once a year we go to places. I give you a simple example. This young prince named Dhruva Maharaj, he lived in a palace. He was the son of the most powerful emperor of his time. He was only 5 years old. He simply wanted the comfort and the love of his father's lap and mother's affection. And his stepmother said, "I'm sorry, you can't sit on your father's lap." So he was taken out of his comfort zone. And what did he do? He had to leave the palace to go into uncharted territory, being in the forest. Because nature allows you to be yourself. And there he finds his teacher. And his teacher then guides his heart to find his purpose. And this is the secret, that the comforts of material life may not always give us the truth that we are seeking. We may have to step out of our comfort zone in order to find our truth. Growth is not is not is not taking place when we are comfortable. I remember first time I was as a little kid, when they told me that butterflies come out of these caterpillars where we grew up. they had a lot of water lilies, and there is a season where there's millions and millions of caterpillars, beautiful colored caterpillars. They go eat those leaves, and then they make a cocoon, and then you can watch this cocoon. They squeeze themselves out of this cocoon into this beautiful butterflies. So as kids, we were always mesmerized and we were impatient, and we would watch those cocoons, those caterpillars eat and eat and eat, and they get fat, and then they make a cocoon, and then, and then they come out as a butterfly. And we would actually get to watch it. And the whole process, it was a process. And the next thing, the other important thing in that is that the process was not easy. It was difficult, but the process was simple. So this process of bhakti that we are sharing with you is actually very simple, but it requires to train the mind every single day, personally, and then collectively, and then together we go and immerse ourselves in places where that place itself will completely transform us from within. In this case of Dhruva Maharaj, being in nature, guided by his teacher, and him disciplining himself. Discipline means to be a disciple. Disciple means to follow instructions. Instructions means a teacher will always give you a roadmap on how to find your truth. But you have to follow that map. And so this is why we are always having discussions on personal development through sadhana, which realigns, and then always taking time once a year, taking time off to go and realign ourselves with powerful places of pilgrimage, where sages have harvested and captured the energy of transformation for thousands and thousands of years. So our time, we have 5 minutes. Anyone has any questions or clarifications or would like to add anything? Vrindavan, you want to add something more?
No. If anyone has any question or anything they want to add.
I'm very happy to see Baker. Baker came all the way from Savannah. He's in Atlanta. Baker and Badri, they're here to enjoy Vrindavan's class and kirtans. Mohini Devi, please share.
Namaste, Guru Veda. I actually also have a question. I realize that, especially in my transition from maiden to motherhood or single woman to family woman, I realize, and also maybe moving, for example, to the Caribbean, like not being as physically close to my unconditional love family, I realized that finding the balance when life gets to life in, especially sometimes when the practice of your sadhana may fall short due to certain circumstances, for example, such as motherhood. How how can you be more intentional about showing up for yourself? How can you be more intentional to not let that? How can you be more intentional so that when life gets to life in, you still remember to put bhakti first? How can you show up for yourself when you have those, when you have this part of your life that's so beautiful, but you also realize that you missed that part of your life where you did not have that many responsibilities? How do you find the balance when you're not as physically close to your yoga family? Thank you for allowing me to share.
Beautiful, beautiful question. Thank you, Mohini Devi. You're in St. Kitts. One of my first recommendations, you have to create a sangha. You have to create a community.
Mm.
And you have to take your vibration and help people to vibrate with that equal frequency. And number two, the fact that you're a mother and now you have transitioned into motherhood, that itself is divine work. Motherhood is not material work. When we understand that to be a mom is to actually be a conduit of God's love for children that has been placed in our care. And so we have to nourish them, and we have to guide them, and we have to love them as God would. And we constantly remind ourselves that we are simply an instrument of God's love. So that consciousness is a very powerful consciousness. And when that consciousness is what you carry, that consciousness is what your child will receive and will feel God's love through you. I'll have Vrindavan add. Vrindavan, you want to add something more to this?
Well, I would just add that uh, it's very interesting because in Bhakti, one of the biggest misunderstandings is that, okay, I do my Bhakti here and my real life is here. We tend to draw a line, an invisible line, where we say, okay, my spiritual part of my day is going to be my 20 minutes of meditation in the morning. And then I go back to my real life. And that's applicable to some other spiritual paths like karma or jnana, where you have to specifically do things which actually that means you are following that process. But in the bhakti process, we say that we don't draw that line because we have given ourselves. So all what we do, it becomes our real life, so you don't need to draw a line that makes you think, okay, I'm disconnected because I'm not like on a kirtan, or I'm not on a retreat, or I'm not with Veda, or I'm not with this and that person who are, you just make your actual life, which you don't have to change anything externally. You start changing internally. That's why we in Bhakti, we also say this is an internal process. The technical word that we use is about bhav, about emotions. Where do you have your emotions? And for that, you don't need to change anything. You may be doing something externally, but if your emotion is in some very good place, so you're in a very good place. And the opposite, you may be doing something which is externally so good, but if your emotions are into something which is not so good, so what is the use of that external action? So whatever you are or whatever you're doing now, either being a mother, either doing 9 to 5 job, whatever you're doing, if your bhav, if your emotions are towards the divine, then you're in the right place. So that's just what I wanted to add.
Thank you so much, Vrindavan. Mohini Devi, I'm so happy to see you. And our time is now over. I'm grateful to each and every one of you for joining us and creating this Sangha and maintaining this Sangha. This is your family, this is your community. Please keep this community together. Please embrace each and every one with this bhakti bhav, the emotion of love, and always continue to remind yourself that we are an important instrument of loving change in this world. So thank you so much. Namaste, everyone, and we'll see you again next week.
Thank you, Vedaji, for having me. Thank you, everyone. Radhe Sham.
Vrindavan, for being here with us, and I get to hang out with Vrindavan. So I'm very fortunate. Okay, namaste, everyone.
Namaste.
Namaste.
Thank you, Vrindavan.
Namaste. Thank you.
Namaste.
Namaste.
Hey, thank you.